Esplanade.
Is it focused?
Yeah, it's focused. You can't tell, it says double double. And now it's focused back on us, see?
This is so awkward. Why you gotta do ASMR?
Can you hear me chewing? We went to the flea market this morning. The Streets of Vintage Flea Market in downtown Oxnard. Pretty successful day. Didn't buy too much, but we saw a lot of cute shops that I'm definitely gonna be buying from in the future. Especially that jewelry, the one with the jewelry. That was really cute.
She had a lot of cute jewelry.
I got this necklace with the rose in the middle. It's gold. The chain's really nice.
I didn't get anything.
But we saw a lot of cute things. And the shop is really nice.
Sponsor us.
If I had things to sell, I'd want a booth there, but I don't have things to sell yet, but maybe I will in the future. It's actually a really nice day today.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was really windy and today it's not as windy. And then we saw like a couple of booths that had In and Out t-shirts. And so we decided that
this would
be a good idea.
It's 11:30.
It's 11:30? Perfect.
It seems like...
It still seems pretty dead at In and Out, which is weird because I feel like this would be the place that if anybody was gonna come and mob before they opened, this would be the place. I remember when we were working at BJ's and I was still hosting or even just doing takeout, I would hate when I could see people sitting outside before we were open.
That was so freaking annoying.
We're not open yet. Go home.
Just because you're here early doesn't make it the food gonna go any faster.
Especially when the cooks would still be on break.
And still be eating.
I used to feel bad because I feel like they were always rushed. Like when we would have takeout orders too, and they would come in like in the morning, and when the ticket would say like, "Oh, we want it to be ready," or like before you guys, or like as soon as you guys are open, or like before you're open. I'm like, wow, that's really rude.
I'd be like,
no
first
tea,
of
no
all,
shade to anybody who's done that, but
you can't make requests like that.
But
if we're not open, if like the cooks aren't clocked in, they're not gonna make food.
But they let them. The managers let them. They let people make requests like that, and we just gave in to them because the guest is always right.
Which is not true.
Which is not true, to be totally
But
honest.
you're coming here to eat, to get our service.
We're not gonna.
You could stay home and cook yourself.
Nobody's gonna give you bad service, but don't go in there and start treating people like slaves. We're there to make money. We're obviously there to give you good service and, you know, a good time. But don't go in there and start treating people like they're less than
human.
Yeah, it's really awful. Especially on days that you know are already going to be busy, like coming up, not this coming month, but in May, Mother's Day and Father's Day. Don't act like a monster when you go somewhere and there's a wait, because you already know that other people are going to want to go out and eat on the same day, and
just don't do it.
And you're gonna have to wait. That's just how it works. And if you don't want to wait, go to a different restaurant. I don't know how we got on that tangent, but
I don't know either.
Just don't treat people like garbage. Everybody's going through the same stuff.
Not war.
Next thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have a pregnant mukbang with Nisa. Our sister is 6 months pregnant, 7 months,
6, 7,
and she likes to eat. So we're gonna have to do one with her.
You one with Maddie?
We'll also probably will do one with our niece and our nephew. I think they'd be pretty interesting. Oh, and Zach. I feel like Zach would be hilarious. Shout out to Uggs_7 on Instagram.
Go follow him. He's single.
He's in high school though, so don't be a pervert.
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. He didn't come, so he doesn't get any.
That's the rule.
That's the rule. You don't come, you don't get none. In the wise words of my mom. We were also just talking about the going rates for like even just apartments in California. I love California. I was born here and I want to like live here until I die. But the government's not making it really easy for me to do that. I am going to be,
or at least be on your own.
Yeah, 24 years old this year. And I feel like it's harder than ever to get a place, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Like if you don't have a friend or a couple of friends or a partner to like do it with, it's almost impossible.
We have very few friends combined.
We have really small circles. They're tight circles, but they're really small.
It's hard to find like a bunch of people that you know and trust to like move out together.
Because it's a big commitment when you're doing it with somebody. You have to really trust them. Especially when money is involved. And I do.
Like if you know they're a lazy piece of shit, then don't move in with them.
There's gonna have to be a warning in here for curse words. But it's a big commitment and it's almost impossible to do it by yourself. Like I have an uncle that lives in Idaho and he was telling me how much his rent is a month, and I think it's less than $800. I want to say it's between $4,000 and $6,000. And
not
I think
including like utilities and stuff like that.
At least I think. I'm not sure if his utilities are included or not, but still. And I think I want to say it's more than one bedroom, and that is like unheard of here in California unless you're renting a room from somebody in their house, which to me is not bad, but like
unless you're like in like the boonies or something like that.
Yeah. But I don't know, like renting a room from somebody just kind of seems a little sketch to me, especially since like I feel like you kind of have to be quiet, you kind of have to be cool with these people, and like especially if you don't know them.
We watch too much SVU to take like advantage of that situation.
But also like, you know, you just don't like know people and you're living with somebody else. Like, you know, wherever you go there's gonna be rules, but you're gonna live like under these people's rules, and like, you know, if you have an animal, if you have whatever, it makes it a lot harder. And even still, it's one bedroom. It's literally a bedroom. And you're still probably going to pay upwards of like $800 for a bedroom. A bedroom. So that's crazy to me. California needs to get it together. Like, it's beautiful here. The weather is lovely. There's beach. There's forest. There's hikes. There's all kinds of stuff. But the
people would be more inclined to come here to live here if they were a lot cheaper.
Honestly, and I feel like, and again, I'm not an economist. I don't know anything about that I wouldn't stretch to say that I know more than the people that are up there, but she makes a lot of sense. In if you lowered the rent, more people would be inclined to actually rent for longer periods of time, and then since we're not spending every single dime we have on rent, we're more likely to stimulate the economy as well with other things, you know, buying clothes, buying food, buying cars, buying whatever to stimulate the economy. I feel like that makes a whole lot of sense, but you know, I don't know if it's because California is in so much debt, if it's because of, you know, where we are, location, I don't know what it is, but the rent really is not helping anybody here, and that's why so many people I think are taking off to places like Vegas and Arizona and Texas, because it's just cheaper to live there. The quality of area may not be your cup of tea, but that's all you can afford.
Yeah, especially like if you're in Vegas, you're always probably gonna live in the desert or like more rural places. But like despite it being like hot and getting super cold during the winter or whatever. Oh, sorry, I got COVID. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You have like AC units in there. You have pools, which are probably going to be really easy to come by in Vegas if you are looking for a house or something, or like an apartment unit. But that's just a lot. Is there a fight right now?
There's a homeless person. I'm assuming she's homeless. She's got a wig on and she's screaming. I think she's just having a bad day.
She's like, don't you want to come live here in California? That's another thing too about California.
There's a lot of homelessness here.
A lot of homeless people.
A lot of homelessness. It's really, really awful.
Because we can't afford to live here.
Yeah, it's honestly really true. And, you know, I've heard a couple of police officers say that people from other countries, or not other countries, excuse me, other states are coming here because I think we're what's the word I'm looking for?
Sanctuary?
A sanctuary state. Thank you. We're a sanctuary state, so people from other states are coming here and homeless. They're homeless where they're from, but they're coming here to be homeless.
And you can't do anything.
We can't do anything about it. You can't
arrest them. You can't.
Well, and I think also the problem is with the homelessness, not for all of it, because it is awful, and I think there should be better options or ways for people to come out of homelessness. Like, I think it's called City of Hope in LA where they're opening all the tiny houses for a lot of the either lower income or homeless people, which is awesome, which is great. I think everywhere should do it. But some people who are homeless, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a large percentage, I would say, that don't want to follow rules or struggle to follow rules, and that's why they don't want to stay in shelters. And that to me is a little bit, there's two sides to the coin.
I'd be like,
but
do you want to be homeless, or would you
rather live in a shelter and follow a couple of rules,
a little bit more comfortable,
live on the street? There's a fine line, and I don't think anyone should be homeless at all. I don't think homelessness is okay, not because of circumstance or anything like that, but because it's so expensive to live anywhere or just make it here. But you
gotta pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, pick and choose your battles. Be smart about your choices, and maybe what it is we need to have more shelters, or add on to our shelters, make more rooms. I don't know, but I think there's a huge issue with homelessness and mental health and drug use as well. So I think we definitely really need to prepare people in shelters to be able to deal with that more as well, because somebody who has a mental illness or a disorder, it's hard for them to assimilate to a place like that, because sometimes they're taking their medication and they're doing good, and sometimes they don't want to take their medication. And because we personally know somebody who struggles and doesn't take his medication, and that causes a lot of issues. So it's really hard, because you have a lot of grown adults that you can't force to do anything, and if you can't force them to do anything, they'd rather be out on the streets. So it's really, really, really hard, and I wouldn't even be able to begin to tell you how to tackle homelessness, but we got to figure out something, because it's really awful, and it's here in California.
It keeps growing here in California.
Growing really, really bad.
Everywhere, to be honest.
And it's awful. It's awful seeing people and their children, or people and their dogs out on street corners or whatever it may be. I know the job market isn't great right now, especially due to COVID, but
and especially if a lot of these homeless people do have mental disorders and mental illnesses, or
it's even harder for them to get jobs. It's even harder
for them to get jobs.
Yeah.
Because if they're not on their medication, then they're not really inclined to be trusted or whatever.
Yeah.
And they have they have rules too.
Especially depending on the severity of whatever mental illness that they have, it can really make things hard. And I know that the state tries to help, but
there's only so much they can do.
Yeah.
And so much they can do for only a certain amount of people. Because they can't please everybody.
Yeah, you can't please everybody.
We just down our burgers.
They were delicious. This conversation got a lot more serious than I thought it was going to be honest. Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about a lot more lighthearted things, but I guess we just got into it. That's right.
It's okay. It needs to be talked about.
You heard it here first, peeps.
It needs to be talked about.
Next episode, we're going to talk about pictures of Spider-Man.
Why Spider-Man?
No, just...
Did he come up with pictures?
No, no. I was just the Spider-Man movies where I was I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Oh. I'm sorry. I don't... That went over my head. I'm sorry.
She's a what? Tom Holland?
I love Tom Holland. Oh, can we just talk about the new Captain America?
Don't be mean.
No.
This is not a place for hate.
No offense to
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
I don't think anybody should be mean to Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna be mean to him. But his character...
it's not his fault.
But
it's
you
not
know
his
what?
fault. No.
He's doing a great job of making a lot of people not like this character, which I think is the point.
Yeah, no
it's the
hate to him personally. It's just, what's his name? Is it John something in the show? Falcon Winter Soldier?
I believe it's John.
John, whatever. He needs to...
He needs
to give the shield back. It was not theirs to give.
Nope, it was not.
Sam gave it to them to, like, for a memorial or a memoriam from Steve.
Can we just talk about how that's something that the government would do, though? Oh,
they would totally be shady like that. Let me be honest.
We're gonna put this in the Smithsonian and then give it to somebody else and make our own Captain America.
Like, you can't just make your own Captain America. Like, I'm pretty sure they did that. They did that by accident. They didn't think it was gonna work.
The scientist that made Cap wasn't even American.
No,
he was German.
Pretty sure.
Anyways,
I love him though. What's his name? Stanley Tucci? Is that his name?
Stanley Tucci is a national treasure, like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, but
like Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. Bro, he's getting old. It's making me sad.
Those are some pure human beings right there.
Chris Evans.
Pure human.
Hemsworth.
Pure human.
Seabass.
Pure human.
I love
Elizabeth Olsen. Paul Bettany. Pure humans. Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff is probably one of the single greatest Marvel characters that ever lived. Forever and ever, my favorite love.
You gotta admit though, she was pretty annoying in Age of Ultron.
At the beginning, yes.
Because she was so freaking like...
She was so powerful and so hell-bent on taking them down, and she was good at it. She made them look like nothing.
R.I.P. Pietro.
R.I.P. Pietro.
Really?
She recast Pietro? Also, Darcy Lewis. What a great Darcy Lewis,
Jimmy Woo,
and Monica Rambeau are like the future. Can we just talk about that? The future.
They're the new generation of Avengers. They're the, what is Thor called? The
Revengers.
The Revenger.
Also really excited for
Thor Love and Thunder.
Yes, Thor Love and Thunder, and we're like a couple days short of a year away from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's hopefully going to be an amazing movie.
Mess my
brain up. I'm gonna mess my brain up. But I think it'll be great. I think it'll be really good.
When does the Guardians movie come out?
I'm honestly not too sure. I think they already started filming on it.
Oh, they did?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Because I saw set pictures of Hemsworth and Pratt together, but I don't know if it was for
if anybody saw
Guardians.
Those pictures. Those pictures.
Because I'm obviously they're letting us know Thor's gonna lose weight. Is what she's referring to, I believe. Thor is my favorite Avenger, by the way. But I would say now I'm gonna say he's my favorite male Avenger, with Captain America being in a very close second, if not in the same spot. But my favorite female Avenger now is Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. Those are my two. I don't know what your mains are, but
I can't really choose. Like,
it's kind of hard
because I like Steve, but sometimes he can be kind of.
Steve
kind of have to pick up after him a little bit.
Steve kind of reminds me of Olivia Benson from SVU, because they're so passionate about what they do that sometimes it clouds their judgment, because they're so passionate about like what they believe in that it's like, no, it has to be. It's all about justice.
But sometimes it gets them in trouble, and you're like, dude, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this?
But I would also argue that Tony is the same way, and I have love for Tony. I love him.
Yeah.
RDJ especially. If you're an RDJ fan, go watch Weird Science. That's an amazing movie. If you've never seen it, it's an amazing movie. Go watch it.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
15 out of 10 would recommend. But Tony's so hell-bent on saving the world and saving the people that he loves, because I would argue that he loves the Avengers. I think that's why he's so scared to lose them, or to be the reason why they're all dead or gone. And because of that fear, it kind of makes him make the same sort of decisions. Just it's on the opposite end of the spectrum. Steve's here and Tony's here.
And like with the whole like Civil War situation, that was not all Tony's fault.
That wasn't
in the beginning when that lady tried blaming her son's death on him. That wasn't all Tony's fault. No, it was not.
And it's kind of true. Sometimes when you're fighting a war, and not that like civilians are ever supposed to be involved in the war, when you're fighting a war, sometimes you save people and sometimes you lose people. But they were trying to save the max amount of people that they could, and by doing that, some people got lost, and that doesn't make it okay, but it wasn't because they were trying to kill anybody.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose.
Sometimes I feel like in these movies, like, yeah, we make fun of it, like when the superheroes are like in New York or LA or whatever and they destroy the city. It's not on purpose. Nobody's trying to like destroy buildings and like smash cars.
It just ends up happening, and they can't control it.
And it's not necessarily their fault, because and this isn't like a real life situation, but like if aliens invade, how are you supposed to be like, can you please not push that building over? Thanks. Somebody paid a lot of money for that.
It's just weird.
I don't know. It is kind of weird. And I also feel like I hate in a lot of these superhero movies, because it's not just the Avengers. The government always ends up coming after them. Like, you destroyed this, you did that, you guys are too powerful for your own good.
You can't.
You have to do this. And it's like,
but we
just saved all kinds of lives, and we do it without you even, which I'm glad that Falcon and the Winter Soldier brought it up. They asked Sam, sorry, there are spoilers in here, by the way, I'll put a spoiler warning, but they asked Sam about, oh, you didn't make money as an Avenger? No, they don't get paid to do that. They're just doing it. And yes, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, so they shouldn't expect to get paid, but come on. Like, even the people in the military get paid. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think sometimes I see these things, and yes, they're not real life situations, so like, don't even get worked up about it, but I could see our government being that way.
Totally like, just backstabbing the people
the people who like basically put their lives on the line every day. Or not every day, but like they put their lives on the line, and then to be like, well, you destroyed all this stuff, and now we're gonna put you in jail for it. So you saved millions and billions of lives, but sorry, that wasn't good enough.
Sorry, you had too much collateral damage
for you to be like redeemable at this point.
But then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we miss Captain America, but here's a new one. So like so many they can just totally replace.
Yeah, they did. He died, and like he wasn't even fully like settled in his grave, and they already had a new Captain America.
But yeah, no offense to Wyatt Russell or whatever. It's just.
If anything, what I'm gonna say here is his acting is so good that he's making everybody already not be on his side. Like, well, actually, I would say
he's so good at being like
irritating,
yeah, or like an asshole.
I would argue also though that for myself and a friend of mine who've already talked about it, there's sometimes where my friend Lorenz.
Oh, Lorenz. Shout out.
Shout out. Kyla, follow him at Kyla Renzguido. I teeter sometimes because I see him and I know he wants to do good, and he wants to like be a good Captain America, and he wants to like, you know, serve justice.
But he wasn't Captain America because of all like the like.
Steve wasn't Captain America because of all those extra things like throwing a shield around or
like
the American flag. Steve was Captain America because it was just, that was who he was. It was like in his heart, and this kid I think wants it to be in his heart, but because he wants it so much, it almost makes it disgenuine, in my opinion. It makes it disgenuine. And for the two people who knew him the best, which would be Sam and Bucky, for him to basically tell them like, just work with me, like I'm gonna be Captain America now, and I know I'm not Steve and I'm not trying to be, but like just like either join me or stay out of my way.
I feel like it's kind of disrespectful. It's not that easy for them to just up and say, okay, I'll be you're the new Captain America.
Especially when like it was so sneaky and like kind of rude.
And after everything Bucky had been through and Steve had done for him, it's obvious Bucky's not gonna just bend over like that. Well, and then I don't understand
how the government didn't think that would be like not be something that would be triggering for him.
Yeah, exactly. And then in like, was it the second one where they have like that big old like at a football game at his high school or whatever, all of a sudden all these people are like, oh, he didn't even do anything yet. They were cheering and he was giving autographs.
Yeah, he actually hasn't done anything to prove himself yet.
He hasn't even saved the world yet. Even that fight
that he had with the people on top of
he didn't win.
No, he didn't. He got some good licks in, but he didn't do anything. Like, he didn't save anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Again, no hate to Wyatt Russell, and I think people should be nice to him because it's not good to bully people on the internet. Even if you think you're joking, it's not nice.
Yeah.
But again,
crap on the character all you want, but
don't crap on the person. Yeah.
He's just doing his job.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna vibe with his character.
At least not yet.
But
I don't know
if you're not a Cap stan, you might be like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. I've seen some people,
one of
my friend,
whatever.
like
Janessa,
she doesn't like Captain America. She just thinks he's kind of useless. And I'm like,
is she trying to say he's like the Batman of the Avengers?
He pretty much is, except he doesn't have money.
By the way, Restore the Snyderverse.
Restore the
Just keep
Snyderverse.
it. Warner Brothers, you will be bullied into restoring the Snyderverse.
100 out of 10 would recommend the 4-hour movie.
I really enjoyed it.
It was worth the 4 hours.
Yeah, it was way better than the first one that came out. I have no idea what Joss Whedon was even thinking when he put that movie out, because it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't even close to amazing. It was actually closer to the scale of like towards the bottom. I don't feel like the original one that came out in theaters like really showcased their acting skills or their characters at all.
They were just literally.
It was kind of just
bring
like
back
a
Superman,
goofy,
save the world,
and I feel like they made some of the things too goofy. Like I think they made Barry a little too goofy sometimes. He kind of was just one of those like throwing a little one-liner
because he was a kid and like.
But I think
like he's too much like a teenager.
He's kind of like their Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Anyways, really good. I love that they had Darkseid in this one. They made Steppenwolf way more like. He had a lot more character. Yes, and
he wasn't just a villain.
He didn't just kind of look stupid, because some of the battles he was even in the other one, he didn't look like very like, he wasn't a domineering character, so it was kind of just like whatever in the first place. But I like that they had Darkseid in there actually as well, because he's like kind of like, well, he's their Thanos. And I feel like he's been mentioned and nobody's ever really seen or heard from him. And I think what kind of sucks for a little bit, which I noticed, is, you know, Thanos had a couple movies where he had his little ending scenes where you could like lead up to it, and the Darkseid in this one kind of just was like, this was basically his fine, I'll do it myself moment in one movie. But to be honest, DC has been struggling, so I think they're trying to kind of play catch up a little bit. But they did it. Zack Snyder did it beautifully. I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with the original Suicide Squad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad either. I think for what it was, I think it was good. And I also kind of feel like David Ayer, the original director, I think he kind of had some like a Zack Snyder thing happen to him as well, like with Warner Brothers. So I don't know if there was more to that movie that we just didn't get to see. But this new one with James Gunn, I think it's going to be good. And I really, really love James Gunn's Guardians movies. They're amazing. Some of the best I think the MCU's ever put out. So I think that's gonna be really good as well, if I'm being totally honest. The trailer, the first like official like full-on trailer just released, I think it was yesterday. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But it looks really amazing. There's some really good Harley moments. And a lot of these characters that they're introducing, I feel like aren't characters you would even like, that you hear about a lot, which I kind of like, that there's some characters that if you're really, really into the comic book universe, you might know, but they're not like huge, I would say. So I like that. They're adding more things for people or even young kids. Like, I don't know if it's going to be rated R or not, but like for people to identify more with. That's why I'm really glad that Disney Plus is taking some of these characters and giving them content, like Scarlet Witch, like the Vision, like Bucky Barnes, like the Falcon, Winter Soldier. I like that they're giving them this like screen time, because now you have like these new things for people to like identify with. Because now you can kind of connect
a lot more stuff to like to the comics.
Sometimes I feel like they talk about like
theories,
like really deep stuff that like you talk about it in such a way that makes it so easy to talk about. So like WandaVision was, I really, really felt WandaVision really deep, especially because Wanda struggled so much, and it kind of deals with like a little bit of like mental health, a little bit of like
a lot of grief,
dealing with
stages of grief.
Yeah, the stages of grief, losing people.
It just, despite her abilities and all that stuff, it made her that much more human.
Yeah, it made her that much more human. And then even
she wasn't an experiment, she was a human.
And Vision as well, when he meets well, himself, White Vision. And that scene to me, and I saw somebody else kind of talk about this, that was basically like changing your mind or changing your viewpoint or opinion when somebody else gives you new information. And that was, I think, really powerful as well. I also like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They kind of had a couple of scenes already that had to do with social justice, race, ethnicity. They talk about mental health as well. So it's like really, there's a lot of stuff. Sorry about that. I think the camera overheated.